Gde si, brate? Ajde, dođi. Dobar dan, ovdje je Vando. Zovem se Wando, ali u Balkan zovem se Vando. Ne. Wando. U ovom video klipu želim da podelim 7 poznati reči koje možete koristiti kao da zvuči da govorite srpski ili hrvatski godinama. Actually, you know what? I'm speaking English now, to be honest. I actually didn't understand 50% of what I just said. My friend helped me write that intro. So that is the point of this video. It's okay if you're not fluent in the language that's spoken in Serbia or Croatia or Montenegro or Bosnia and Herzegovina, and you're going to be traveling in those countries. If you just say some commonly used words over and over again, everyone's gonna be like, wow, kako ti znaš moj jezik, kako si učila srpski, kako ti znaš hrvatski, when really whatever I said is just one of 20 things that I know how to say. So, if you are going to be, or you currently are, traveling through the Balkans and you're excited to learn some of these commonly used words and phrases so that you too can sound like you know what you're talking about when you don't, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Might want to hit the subscribe button for weekly content about living in, traveling in, and life and culture within the Balkans. And be sure to tick that notification bell so that you do not miss any of this weekly content. Now, a couple of things before we get started. In the intro, I was speaking grammatically the way that a Serbian person would speak and how they would form sentences, which isn't exactly the way a Croatian person would form sentences. But I want you to know that all of these words, these commonly used words and expressions, are common in both countries and they're irrelevant to grammar. So the first word is the greatest word in the history of words, and that word is Može. It's so weird to like speak in English and then like just get all jezik on you, like it's weird. So Može literally translates to the word can, and it is the conjugation of the word can when you are referring to the pronouns he, she, or it. However, it is so many times taken out of that context and used in so many more other contexts, which is so awesome because you can use that word for everything. Like every situation you can use Može. So essentially it is used for confirmation or to ask for confirmation. So it can mean anything from yes, sure, why not, go ahead, be my guest. So just some examples in English when you would be in a situation where you might use one of those words. For example, if someone says to you, are you using this chair? Can I take this chair? You would say, sure. If you're at a restaurant and your waiter asks you, do you want another beer? You would say, yes, or yes, please. Those are all situations where you can simply say, Može. So here where I live and traveling in the Balkans, if someone says to me, Može li još jedno pivo? Do you want another beer? I can simply say Može. Or if a friend asks me if I want to hang out tonight, da li se vidimo se večeras? I don't know if I said that right. If I wanted to, I would say Može. Može is also good in situations where you might not be sure the best way to form a sentence. So a lot of times you can put together a kind of cheat sentence where you just start your question or your phrase with Može and then throw in the thing that you want or need after that. This can be common if you're taking a taxi. Maybe you want to go to the bus station, which would be autobuska stanica. You can just get in the taxi and say, Može autobuska stanica? And there was a Može, which means yes, I can take you there. So that is why Može is such a powerful word. There's just so many things you can do with it. Every language needs a Može. So the next word is O-baj. O-baj literally translates to this. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but let's just stick with that explanation for now. So if you're trying to speak with someone from one of these countries and you're hearing them say O-baj, O-baj, O-baj is this language's and I just think it's so cute. cute. I don't know why, but whenever I hear someone sing O-baj, it's the cutest, most endearing thing in the world to me. And of course, naturally, when you're trying to speak in this language and you're not fluent in it, you're of course going to be thinking in your language. So it's more natural that, for example, if you're an English speaker like me, that when you're thinking in English that you're going to be saying instead of saying O-baj. But I think you should try saying O-baj because you can kind of pass off that you are so well versed in this language that you even think in that language. It's also a really common language practice that when you're trying to learn another language, to practice talking out loud in that language to yourself. And then the other thing that helps a lot with learning the language is thinking in that language. So that prevents you from translating everything in your head all the time. So if you want to sound like you've been speaking the language for years, just throw some O-bajs in there and it will sound like you know what you're talking about as well. If you act like you're thinking in the language, it will help you to actually think in the language. Okay, now this is a fun word. Next word is Ajde. Ajde, Ajde. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Just ignore me. So Ajde is a word that you will hear a lot. You will hear it a lot in music. You will hear a lot of people just saying it as well. And Ajde means come on, let's go, come on now, hurry up. So it too has like a lot of meanings, but they're all within the family of come on. And especially if you are a huge football fan like me and you're going out to sports bars and you're watching football games, you will hear a lot of people saying Ajde brate, which means like come on, let's go. Like I'd also hear Ajde brate, šta radiš, which means like come on, like what are you doing? I say that a lot when I'm watching my favorite sports teams and when you're out at night with your friends. It's a way to kind of say like come on guys, hurry up, let's go. If you're going to another bar and some people are kind of taking their sweet time and you're like trying to get the group to move it a little bit, you will hear okay, Ajde, Ajde. So it's a very fun word to play around with. You will hear it in so many different contexts. And again, if you're from one of these countries, well, let me know some other contexts or sentences where people would use the word Ajde. Next up, we have Brate. And I just love this word when people here say it because it just sounds so aggressively sexy and so like macho. There's just something about those two letters, B and R, when they're put together, brate, just turns me on. Can't explain it. So anyway, brate is not a verb like Može, where it just has this ability to have so many meanings and can be used in so many different ways. Brate's power is that it is just thrown a lot on the ends of sentences and in the beginning, sometimes of course too. Brate literally translates to brother. Technically, I should say, the actual word for brother is brat. So if you look up the dictionary definition of brother, it would be brat. In the 6 other cases, besides nominative, and depending on the context of the sentence, the ending of the word changes. So there's a case called vocative, which is when you call out for someone. So if you're calling someone's name or you're calling your cat to come over, you would change the ending of that person's name or the ending of the word cat. And in the case of vocative, the word brat becomes brate. So in these countries, a lot of times you'll hear people throwing the word brate onto a sentence. You might hear people saying Ajde brate, or šta radiš brate, or gde si brate. And I just think it's so cool when people say this because you can just tell that there's just so much affection, like connection behind the word. I do think when you're a foreigner and you say the word brate and you add it to your sentences as well, it's almost like you're kind of acknowledging the culture. It's probably not going to carry as much weight, but I do think it's a fun way to show that you're paying attention to how people speak to one another here and kind of, in a way, pay respect to the language by speaking in a similar way, and throwing brate into your sentences is a fun way to do it. Now, if you want to sound extra Serbian, there is a common slang way of saying brate, and of course not all Serbians use slang. That's like saying all Americans speak in his slang, which isn't true, but I do think a fun slang that Serbian people tend to do is they will use the inverse of a word to say that word. So for brate, that word is tebra. So a lot of times you might hear Serbians saying the word tebra instead of brate. I say tebra a lot because why not? I'm gonna actually include these two words as a group to mean one thing. So one is uredu, the other one is okay, and they both mean okay or alright or fine. And you will hear people saying a lot uredu. So if someone says to you sve uredu, that means is everything okay? Is everything alright? But it's just as common to say okay. If you are an English speaker, that's probably good to know that the word okay is actually commonly used here as well. So you will hear okay a lot and you will hear uredu a lot. And of course, just like with okay, you'll hear it in so many different situations. People can ask you if everything's okay in your life. People can ask you if you're okay, if maybe they know that you had a bad day at work, or they know something tragic happened in your family. When you go out to eat, people will ask you, was everything okay? The same goes for uredu. So in all of those situations, you will hear people asking you sve uredu, sve okay. So if you're new to this language, just be prepared to hear uredu a lot. You can use it in a lot of different contexts yourself, or you can just say okay. And to take it a step further, you might also hear a lot the word važi, which also means okay. I think važi is a little bit more used commonly in Serbia compared to Croatia, but I think važi is a little bit more used when you're confirming to someone that you heard what they said, or you're just kind of confirming that you're understanding something that someone's saying to you. You'd say okay, okay. Those are the type of situations where, specifically in Serbia, can't speak for Croatia, but I know in Serbia that people will say važi, 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 which means you get it. And that's a word that I don't say enough. I need to start saying that more. Next up, we have pa, which isn't exactly a word. Well, it can be, well, sometimes, but I would say it's more of an expression to emphasize a feeling or a thought. Pa can also mean and, or, well, so a lot of times when you hear someone say pa, it will be followed by another word that is really stressed or emphasized. I love it when people say paznam or panisam. The second word that they say after pa, a lot of times it's this elongated word, and I just think it sounds really cool. You can also a lot of times hear pa thrown in front of an adjective like pa dobro. And sometimes if you are explaining something and you kind of cut off the thing that you're explaining and someone's waiting for you to continue, instead of just leaving them hanging, they might say pa, go on, continue. How annoying is it when someone's telling a story and then when it's about to get good, they're like, but never mind, you don't want to know about that. Pa is a way of calling people out, people who do that to you. What kind of friend is that? So if you are absolutely brand new to learning this language or being around it, hearing it, it might be a little bit unnatural to start throwing pa into the sentences that you're making, but hey, if you feel comfortable and you want people to think you know what you're talking about, throwing pa into some of your sentences will make you sound like you've been speaking this language for years. And for the last word, remember when I told you about that word O-baj, which literally translates to this? Well, to literally translates to that. Now, disclaimer, unfortunately, because I do think this is a complicated language, There's actually 2 words for that. And of course, depending on which of 7 case contexts these words are being used, the endings will change, and they will also change according to gender. To is the neutral gender attribution of the word that. But that is a very basic explanation of it. So let's just get to the cool meaning of it that you might hear a lot, which you can use so that you can sound like you speak this language a little bit better than you do. So, to can also mean yeah, or that's right. Yeah. The American comes out when I'm talking about to. But yeah, it's a word that's used in exclamation to kind of confirm something to be true. Just like yeah or that's right in English. So if you're watching football with some local friends of yours and you support the same team and maybe your team scores and one of your friends says postigli smo gol, which means we scored a goal, that would be an occasion where you could say to. I do think that to is a little bit of a more difficult word to find a great context when you can use it just like pa. I think figuring out the rhythm of when to use to could be a little bit harder. I know me personally, I practice saying it all the time, and there are some times where like when I say it to a Serbian person or a Croatian person, I feel like they're like, what are you talking about? And I immediately know that I didn't use it in the best context. So gonna have to get used to that if you do intend on using to, but I do think that it is something that you should add to your vocabulary if you want to sound like you're a little bit more advanced at this language than you are. Okay guys, so that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know if you want me to make more videos like this. I like making little nerdy videos like this. I could talk about language all day. I think language is so fun. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, like it if you liked it. Also subscribe to my channel for weekly content about living and traveling in and the life and culture within the Balkans, and be sure to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any new videos that I upload to my channel. And also, if you yourself are from Serbia, Croatia, Montenegro, Bosnia and Herzegovina, please let me know in the comments some other commonly used words that I did not discuss in this video, because if I make a part 2 of this video, that will definitely give me some ideas of some words that I can talk about in that video. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you guys have a great week, and deuces.